Two pharmacists, two accidental inventions, one war that has lasted over 100 years and is still being fought today. You think you choose between Coca Cola and Pepsi. You don't. They choose for you. Through psychological tricks, celebrity deals, rigged taste tests, corporate espionage, and one of the most spectacular business failures in human history. This is not a story about soda. This is a story about power and how two companies turned a fizzy drink into the most expensive battlefield in corporate history. Before we get into this, are you a Coke person or a Pepsi person? Drop your answer in the comments right now. I read every single one. If you think you made that choice yourself, hit subscribe. Because after this video, you will never be so sure. Stay with me until the end because what these two companies have been doing behind the scenes will change how you see every sip forever. Section 1-2 accidents. Let's start at the beginning. Atlanta, Georgia, a pharmacist named John Pemberton was trying to create a headache cure. He mixed coca leaves and cola nuts with carbonated water. It tasted good. He started selling it for 5 cents a glass. He called it Coca Cola. He had no idea what he had created. 7 years later, 1893. North Carolina, another pharmacist, Caleb Bradham, also mixing drinks, also experimenting. He called his creation Brad's Drink, not exactly a name that conquers the world, so he renamed it Pepsi Cola. 1898, two pharmacists, two accidents. Neither of them knew they had just started a war that would last over a century. Section 2, Pepsi's darkest days here, is something Pepsi does not put in their ads. They went bankrupt. Twice, 1923 bankrupt, 1931 bankrupt again. Pepsi was so desperate, they actually approached Coca-Cola and offered to sell themselves. Twice, Coca-Cola said no, both times. That decision, saying no to a bankrupt Pepsi, is one of the most expensive mistakes in business history. Because Pepsi didn't disappear. Pepsi survived and came back angrier. In 1934, Pepsi started selling a 12-ounce bottle for 5 cents, twice the size of Coke. Same price. During the Great Depression, that was not just a drink. That was a statement. Pepsi was the drink for people who needed more for less. Coke was a drink for people who could afford to pay more for less. And that positioning would define the war for the next 50 years. Section 3, the rigged taste test Pepsi, made the boldest move in soda history. The Pepsi Challenge. Blind taste tests all across America. People tasted two drinks without knowing which was which. And they chose Pepsi. More often than Coke. Pepsi put it on TV, ran it everywhere. Coca-Cola panicked. But here is what Pepsi never told you. The tests were not exactly fair. Coca-Cola was served at 0 degrees Celsius, too cold for the flavor to come through properly. Pepsi was served at normal refrigerator temperature. The test that was supposed to prove Pepsi tasted better was actually rigged to make Coke taste worse. And it worked. Coca-Cola's market share dropped. Their executives lost sleep. Their board demanded action. And that panic led to the biggest corporate mistake in American history. Section 4, New Coke Disaster, April 23, 1985, Coca-Cola CEO Roberto Goizueta walked to a podium in New York City and announced something unthinkable. They were changing the formula. After 99 years, the recipe that had conquered the world was being replaced. They called it New Coke. 190,000 taste tests, months of research, billions of dollars behind it, and within days, Americans lost their minds. People flushed New Coke down their toilets. They stockpiled cases of the original. They formed protest groups. They wrote angry letters to Coca-Cola headquarters. 40,000 letters in 1 month. After just 79 days, Coca-Cola surrendered. They brought back the original formula, called it Coca-Cola Classic. And something strange happened. Sales went higher than before the disaster. Some people believe Coca-Cola planned it deliberately, a fake crisis to boost sales. Coca-Cola denies it to this day, but the timing was suspicious. Section 5, the betrayal now here, is a story nobody talks about. A woman named Joya Williams worked as a secretary to Coca-Cola's global brand director. She had access to something priceless, Coca-Cola's secret formula. She decided to sell it to Pepsi. For $1.5 million, she made contact, set up the meeting. And Pepsi's response? They said no and called the FBI. Pepsi Coca-Cola's biggest enemy refused to steal their rival's most valuable secret and handed the thief over to law enforcement. The FBI set up a sting operation, posing as Pepsi executives. Williams was arrested, convicted, sent to prison. The U.S. attorney praised Pepsi publicly, saying they had protected the entire business community. The greatest enemy Coca-Cola ever had saved them from their own employee. Section 6, the celebrity arms race. While the formula drama played out, both companies were fighting a completely different war. Celebrities, Pepsi moved first. 1983, Michael Jackson, $5 million. The largest celebrity endorsement deal in history at that time. Michael Jackson was not just famous. He was the most watched human being on earth. Pepsi put him in ads, on billboards, on every screen in America. Then Madonna, Tina Turner. Beyond Pepsi became the drink of pop culture. Young, cool, rebellious, Coca-Cola fought back differently. They went for emotion. 1971, the Hilltop commercial. 65 young people from different countries on an Italian hillside, singing "I'd like to buy the world a Coke," the most expensive ad ever made at the time. Pepsi won the battle of cool. Coca-Cola won the war of belonging. And that difference is why Coke is still number one today. Section 7, the Super Bowl Troll. The Super Bowl was played in Atlanta, Georgia, Coca-Cola's hometown. Pepsi had been the NFL's official sponsor for years, and they knew exactly where the game was being played. So they ran ads all week with slogans like "Pepsi in Atlanta. How refreshing. Hey Atlanta, thanks for hosting. We'll bring the drinks. Look who's in town for the Super Bowl. Corporate trolling." On national television, in front of 100 million viewers, in Coca-Cola's own city. Coca-Cola's response? They ran one ad during the game. Calm, simple, timeless, a Coke is a Coke. That's it. Pepsi brought fireworks. Coke brought dignity. And somehow both of them won. Today, Coca-Cola is worth $265 billion. Pepsi is worth $220 billion. The war is not over. It moved to energy drinks. Coca-Cola owns Monster Energy. Pepsi owns Rockstar. Different cans. Same war. 140 years of fighting. Two pharmacists who never meant to start anything. A secret formula almost sold to the enemy. A taste test that was rigged from the beginning. A formula change that destroyed everything. And a rivalry so deep that even today when you reach for a drink, someone somewhere is counting on you to pick a side. The war never ended. It just got quieter. And the next battlefield eyes already being built. If this changed how you see your favorite drink, subscribe and share Behind Billions. Every week, we expose the wars being fought behind the world's biggest brands. The next one is even more surprising.